everyone. Welcome to today's segment here on the Product and Packaging Powerhouse. I am your show host, Megan Young Gamble, Chief Project Officer at GLC, your packaging and project execution team for health, beauty, wellness brands. And guys, I'm so excited to be having this episode drop for you all today because this is a continuation of the prior episodes of Trends and Transitions. So this is part 2. If you have not had an opportunity to check out part 1, make sure you go down to the show notes and click the link to listen to part 1, because part 2, which is this segment, is going to be a continuation of what we talked about in the prior segment about different trends, also some transitions that are happening respectfully for the podcast as well as for my business, and how all these things intersect with the trends that we're seeing in the industry for 2025. If this is your first time here rocking with us and listening to us, welcome to the house. We are here to help make sure that we're sharing the real data, real insights, and real conversations with real powerhouses to highlight what is happening respectfully in the actual industries centered around beauty, pharma, food, and other respective industries that is really tailored to creation, development, and launch of products and packaging. So if you did not know, packaging is the very first impression of your brand. It helps with the transportation, containment, safety, and also promotion. And so the product is what keeps the consumer enticed and excited, and the ultimate experience is what keeps them coming back for more. And so we talk about that with the various business sectors from different powerhouses here on the podcast. But since I am doing a solo one for today, there is no other powerhouse. It's just me. But with that being shared, we're going to be talking about some transitions that are happening and the 2025 trends, respectfully, in the beauty space, as well as formulations. So these will be combined together and interwoven into our conversation for today. Okay. So first thing I want to share is, let's talk about some transitions. So if you listen to part 1, this will correspond with that segment. But since I went through the Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women in Business program, I was able to redefine the objective of my company, GLC, which is the Packaging and Project Execution Team. And so with that, we have a new objective. And so I'm having to say this and really be unapologetic about it, because one, it's for an accountability standpoint, but also it's really big, audacious goals. Okay. So I'm in my bag, big, audacious goals. And so for my company, GLC, we want to become the leading beauty operations firm that is helping to accelerate sustainable and prestige products into the marketplace for products and packaging, respectfully, in the USA, Canada, and Latin America by the end of 2026. And so with that, I need you all support. And that is one reason of why we have this podcast as well, to really showcase not only our expertise, but also the conversations we have when we work with cross-functional teams, external stakeholders, and the various business sectors that really intersect with the creation, development, and launch of products and packaging. And so with this new objective, respectfully, for my company, it's, scary to put it out there. However, change doesn't come by being comfortable, and with me being an entrepreneur and operating in this space as a Black female, there's certain challenges, around that, but unapologetic. I really stand firm on what I believe in and what I do. I learned a lot along the way. And I think it's really a testament to something my mom and my sisters always told me growing up, is I'm always about business, and sometimes I can't turn it off, so I guess that could be definitely a strength and a positive attribute, and how that correlates to operating the business and also for the podcast. And so as part of this new objective, respectfully, for my company, this transitions over respectfully to the podcast. Because with the podcast, if we are wanting to become the leading beauty operations firm, that means that the conversations we have with powerhouses, the subject matter that we talk about here on the podcast, all of that needs to coincide with each other. And we've been doing a really great job, based upon our prior interviews. However, as we're going into this new year, people always say new year, new me. I wouldn't say it's a new us or a new podcast, but we're redefining and evolving. That's a better word. We're evolving, how we deliver the content, the subjects, that our audience wants to listen to. So if you have a particular topic you would love to hear on the podcast, first, explore our library. And then secondly, go down to the show notes, and we do have a topic form where you can submit some of your top topics that you would love to hear right here on the Product and Packaging Powerhouse. Okay. At this time of the video, I am expecting baby girl, who is going to be joining the Product and Packaging Powerhouse team, as well as the GLC team. So I may have to take some pauses to catch my breath, but just bear with me as we go through this episode as well. And so there's a lot of transitions for business and for life, and then also transitions in the industry. So let's go ahead and get into some 2025 trends we are going to be seeing respectfully for beauty formulations, as well as within the beauty industry. So the first one I'm going to talk about that we've seen before, but it's starting to really be the standard, so to speak. And in the beauty industry, that is going to be hyper personalization. And so hyper personalization, when you think about it, is how do I get products that are specifically tailored to me and my respective needs? And so you now have stores, JCPenney's, Sephora, even online sites, Cetaphil, Olay, and more, where you can quickly scan your skin and start getting an analysis of what products would be advantageous for you thanks to advancement of AI and biotechnology. So we have brands like Function of Beauty, who is really incorporating this actual technology and hyper personalization approach to help create custom hair care. So, depending upon what your needs are, if you need more moisture, if you need more repair, for your actual hair, to help make it stronger, etc., you can actually curate that specifically to your needs. And so that is really the approach of hyper personalization. We've also seen this with Curology. And I think Curology has really taken off over the past probably 2-3 years at the time of this recording, where they are having more of a hyper personalization approach to create customized skincare solutions based upon your actual skin needs. So if you have hyperpigmentation, if you have acne, if you have both, if you have oily skin, combination skin, they are able to use advancement of technology, such as AI, etc., to help with determining what is the best approach and the best products for you to incorporate into the respective products that you're creating. And so with that being shared, I'm now going to jump to another trend that we're seeing. And this one is on more of the formulation side. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be interweaving, some of the trends respectfully in beauty space and the formulations because they all coincide. And so the next trend that we're starting to see respectfully in the beauty industry is prejuvenation. Now you may say, I've heard of rejuvenation. What is pre? Well, just like in school, it's the prefix, right? But in the respective beauty industry, we're really focusing on preventing skin damage before it happens, instead of having it be an afterthought. So similar to what I talked about with hyper personalization, where products are being curated based upon your specific need or the problem, we're now looking at how to incorporate those same methods into the mix through prejuvenation, so we can focus on fixing the problems now versus fixing them later. So incorporation of antioxidants, collagen boosters, and SPF, because you should be wearing SPF every single day, does not matter what time of year it is, to really help protect and preserve your skin to help prevent early signs of aging. So this helps you with maintaining a healthy, glowing skin for years. And we're starting to see a lot of companies start to think about this approach as well. So when we think about prejuvenation and one of the brands that's really incorporating this, we're seeing a lot of brands really think about it, in reference of how this is being driven, why it's being talked about. And a lot of this has really been stemmed from the Gen Z population, where they want to make sure that they are thinking about their wellness much earlier instead of just trying to fix the problem later. So, but in my personal opinion, it's a good combination of having both, because you need the prejuvenation to help with maintaining a healthy, glowy skin and making sure that you're preserving your skin to help prevent early signs of aging. But in some cases, your skin changes based upon the seasons, based upon life. Like with me currently being pregnant at the time of this recording, my skincare regimen is totally different than what it was pre-pregnancy. So having to tailor that and really have products that are hyper personalized for me in this current season is much needed. So definitely make sure you're incorporating both of them into your mix, so that way you can make sure that you're having the right products for your targeted needs. So going on to the second trend that we're seeing respectfully around biotechnology is advancements around lab grown ingredients. So as I mentioned with prejuvenation, we're looking at incorporating ingredients like antioxidants, collagen boosters, and more. Well, thanks to biotechnology advancements in lab grown ingredients, we are now able to have from cultures, collagen to plant derived actives really be incorporated to really marry science and sustainability in reference of this advancement. And so I'll tell you a quick story. And so when I was in college, I was actually studying to be a chemistry major. Thought I was going to go to pharmacy school. I'm not going to get into the whole story. You can check out my full story down below, Detour to Destination, where I talk a little bit more about it, more in depth. But as part of my study abroad program, where had the opportunity to go to India, I actually went to a biotechnology. My internship was in reference of biotechnology, and it was really in the food space, centered around genetically modified organisms, GMO. And so, as I reflect upon my experience then and how that's become full circle into the food that we as consumers have access to and such, and seeing how large food and stuff like that is, it takes me back to those days. And so when I think about biotechnology and how it is definitely needed to help with sustainability and also helping to keep up with the trends that we're seeing respectfully in the beauty space, biotechnology is really helping to really formulate with techniques. So more so like fermentation, tissue culture, GMOs, like I talked about, and then cell cultures and artificial intelligence. So we are really marrying technology and also ingredients into the technique process. So that way it can help with the advancement of these lab grown ingredients as well, and definitely be incorporated for sustainable approaches and alternatives with some of the ingredients. So it's really interesting to see this as well. And then this also goes to the next point I want to make, which is still around ingredients, which our consumers are still wanting the need and the rise of natural and organic ingredients. So as we all know, every product that we create or every product that is accessible is an ingredient, right? So when you think about going to the grocery store and to create your favorite meal, you have to gather all of the ingredients to create that meal. Well, same thing respectfully in the beauty industry. So you have to have all of these different ingredients to create the composition of the product. And so with the rise of natural and organic ingredients, it's a big part of sustainability. So consumers are now being more cautious of the type of ingredients they use on their skin. They're also demanding clean, natural ingredients, organic options. We see that 78% of consumers purchase products based upon the information and the ingredients of the product, that is displayed on the packaging, hence product and packaging powerhouse, to really understand, the impact it may have to them and their skin, but also how it may have an impact onto the environment. So we're seeing more of this, of the conscious consumer really being in play. And so when you have retailers that are really responding to these curated selections, to make sure that they're free of harmful ingredients, meeting the consumer expectations around health and sustainability, incorporation of hyper personalization into the mix, prejuvenation. You see how all of these are going hand in hand, right? And so this is something that has been in place, but now we're starting to see a surge of more consumers wanting the rise of these natural and organic ingredients, biotechnology advancements that helps with the techniques to create the products, and then also thinking about prejuvenation as well as hyper personalization as well. And so, since I talked about sustainability, sustainability is one of those big buzzwords, right? We always hear about it, and everybody's like, we want everything to be sustainable. Well, my philosophy is personally, when a brand says that or a consumer says that, always ask them, what does that mean to you? And so, some of the brands that I speak with, especially like startup brands that are in grassroots mode, etc., some of them are not able to answer the question around what sustainability means to them as a brand, and also what does that mean to their end consumers. Okay, because at the end of the day, as I mentioned, we have the cautious consumer who is looking at all the information that's on the product packaging. They want to know what type of natural ingredients or clean ingredients are being utilized, how it's being, what is the impact onto, the environment, how is the packaging, able to be recycled, or, minimalistic design for it to be recyclable and such, so there's a lot of things that play around sustainability and even the infrastructure around recycling. So I'm gonna link some respective episodes where I spoke with different powerhouses, where we had a conversation around what sustainability means, the power of it in the circular economy, because all of those elements are vital to help ensure that we're thinking about sustainability, but also thinking about thinking about regeneration as the North Star. So, a lot of times we always focus on sustainability, which has so many facets to it, from reusability, recycling, composting, and eco friendly options. But at the end of the day, we have to think about what is the North Star or regeneration, which is really the umbrella of sustainability. So, respectfully, in the beauty industry, we're trying to definitely incorporate more refillable packaging, waterless products, thinking about carbon neutral or zero carbon supply chain, what that means, looking at the materials for the packaging that's heavily being utilized in the space. And so, there's a lot of things that has to really be thought about. But at the end of the day, you have to use data to help with making those critical decisions. So check out my episodes with Michael Houston and also Dustin Smith, where we have those conversations around how data is really utilized to help drive these decisions around regeneration, the governing or the umbrella of sustainability. And so, one thing I want to share just as a highlight to show you how much sustainability, respectfully, in the beauty and the skincare industry is heavily being thought about, and also the growth. We are seeing a compound annual growth rate of almost a little bit over 8% from 2024 to 2031. And we are projected to hit almost $327 billion. Okay. Just in reference of the sustainable beauty and skincare market. And so I want to link this report down in the show notes for you all so y'all can look at this, because like I said, sustainability is really here to stay. We've been talking about it for some years. We now have regulations in place. We now have laws in place centered around sustainability. We still have a good ways to go. I still say this. I'm very transparent and unapologetic about it. We do not have the infrastructure in place at this current moment for all of these sustainability efforts. However, I do personally believe that, if you as a brand understand what sustainability means to you and the end user of your brand, and really focus on one sustainability effort at a time and let that evolve over time, that would definitely help you with not greenwashing and not just saying you're sustainable and it's full of fluff, because we have a lot of brands that are out here that is giving some fluff around sustainability. So I'm gonna digress from there, but I'm also being honest, and that's really the point of the podcast, is to be transparent of what we're seeing, what I'm seeing, my own opinions and thoughts, and also the data that is showcasing this as well, centered around this sustainability circular economy space as well. So I'm gonna link the article that talks about the growth of the sustainable beauty and skincare market, but I'm also going to link you to the US Plastic Pact organization. They have a great roadmap because they are partnering with the Sustainable Packaging Coalition that's really helping to lead the efforts around packaging EPR, and more. And so there's a lot of things at play. Okay. So all of these things are really coinciding with each other. So let me take a quick sip and we'll get into our next trend. All right. So, as I talked a little bit about prejuvenation and hyperpersonalization, as well as biotechnology advancements, all of this is centered around technology. But now, really thinking about like the next trend for 2025, which is tech enhanced beauty and skincare. When we think about it, technology over the past 30 years has definitely is something I've seen evolve through my 37 years of life. I was part of the generation where we went from cassette tapes to VHS tapes to CDs, DVDs, Blu-ray, 3D. I remember when 3D came out. I think I went to go see Spy Kids with my sisters, to AOL, dial up, to automatic internet connection, to Wi-Fi. So, and now with AI, like I've seen the evolution of technology just in reference of everyday use as well. And so technology touches every aspect of our life, including the beauty and cosmetics industry. So in the beauty space, we're seeing the integration of technology, around artificial intelligence. So like I mentioned, you have Cetaphil where you can actually do a skin analysis. They will tell you which areas of your skin actually needs hydration. It's actually a really cool app. Olay has one as well where they can actually incorporate AR into the mix and help with the skin analysis and give you recommended products. So the hyper personalization approach and a little bit of prejuvenation as well, depending upon what your needs are. And then of course we have the Internet of Things. And so these three areas of technology is heavily being incorporated into the beauty and skincare industry. And so when you think about this, like also think about virtual try on of different products as well. So when you go to Sephora and you want to try Makeup Forever, or Smashbox or Fenty Beauty and compare the three, you're able to do so amongst those three retailers because of the technology that is incorporated, excuse me, that is incorporated into the websites for you to help see what shade you want to try on, what brand you want to patronize, and which item is going to be your top contender. That's why I have so many Fenty Beauty lip glosses for myself. So this is not going to change. It's definitely going to continue to evolve over time. And so, according to Statista Market Insights, the global beauty tech market is projected to hit almost $11 billion by 2029. And that's an annual growth rate of 4.9%. So that's some good growth. And there's even conferences that's being centered around beauty tech as well. I know there's one, I can't remember the name of it offhand, but I remember when I went to LuxPack in New York, they actually had a beauty tech conference or convention happening simultaneously with LuxPack. So this is being a big conversation, and a lot of companies are seeing how to incorporate technology as part of their portfolio, as part of the ways of working. We talk about that in project management, and also how to help offer a solution to consumers to help with the hyper personalized approach or prejuvenation to have that targeted or curated products respectfully for their needs. So this is something that's going to be continuing on, and we're just going to see that technology evolve over time as well. And so with that being said, we talked about hyper personalization, prejuvenation, biotechnology advancements, and more. We are also seeing the influx and the need around holistic beauty and wellness in every swipe. So people always say, well, we've always talked about it. However, people are now becoming more conscious of it. With holistic beauty and wellness in every swipe, we talked about hyper personalization and prejuvenation around curated products for your respective needs. And so, as part of that, especially around prejuvenation, which is helping to have targeted products that will help prevent early signs of aging and such. So, the collagens, the antioxidants, and the SPF, it's all about personalization. But at the end of the day, it's really about blending traditional and alternative ways to cater around your beauty, health, wellness regimen. And so, according to Mintel, consumers are incorporating personalized products with holistic wellness for evolved self-care practices. Thus, it's changing the narrative from just quick fixes to products that offer longevity and gradual results. And so in this year, consumers are really prioritizing comfort and simplicity. So that goes back to what we talked about earlier with the trends, prejuvenation, and then also those personalized products that are being incorporated as well. So make sure as you're thinking about the curated products that you're selecting, utilizing technology like AI, AR apps that would help you with doing skin analysis and also helping you to determine what is the best approach and regimen for you. Make sure you're being holistic around your approach and making sure that you're thinking about not just having quick fixes. You want to have things that will offer longevity, gradual results, but also making sure that it aligns with your self-care practices as well. So we talked a good bit about some different trends that we're seeing respectfully around the formulations and the beauty industry, and also hinting on some of the packaging trends as well. So make sure you do go and check out part one of trends and transitions, because we talked about, what we can expect to see around that space as well. And so what is next around this? So the one thing I want to encourage everybody to do is, first, if you're talking about sustainability, really highlight and get crystal clear on what does sustainability mean to you as a brand, and also what it means to the end consumer or to you as a consumer as well. Also, secondly, as you're thinking about prejuvenation and hyper personalization of your curated products, how does the sustainability of those brands that you're patronizing that will help with your curated products, how does that align with sustainability as well? Because it all goes hand in hand. Third, start understanding what technology is being incorporated for the products that you are selecting as part of your hyper personalization. I think this is something very valuable for all of us because there's so much technology heavily utilized in the industry. In our recap, we've talked about hyper personalization, prejuvenation, insights around packaging trends, which is part one. So you can click the show notes down below to check that out. We also talked about holistic beauty and wellness centered around your curated products. We also talked about advancements around biotechnology, around some of the ingredients that were being incorporated into those personalized products that you all are purchasing and curating for your specific needs. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this episode, Trends and Transitions, Part 2, where we talked about the formulations and the beauty industry and also the growth that we're seeing in the space. We also talked about my new objective, respectfully, for my company, GLC, which is we will become the leading beauty operations firm, accelerating prestige and sustainable products into the marketplace in the USA, Latin America, and Canada by end of 2026. And so in order to support us with those efforts, make sure you do give us a 5-star rating on your favorite platform. Make sure you do share this episode with at least 5 people in your network, because we do believe your net worth is based upon your network. And also, we are accepting clients. So we do have a link down below in the show notes where you can actually schedule a one-on-one directly with me to see how we can best support your efforts as your leading packaging and project execution team. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure you do follow, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Talk to you then.